66 stories, 249 meters of glass and concrete, a penthouse that sold for $59 million paid in Bitcoin. This is the Aston Martin Residences, Miami. The site sits at 300 Biscayne Boulevard Way, where the Miami River meets Biscayne Bay. In 2017, surveyors arrive at a narrow waterfront parcel hemmed in by traffic, salt air, and a high water table. Crews fence the perimeter, install dewatering wells, and stake out the footprint of what will become a sail-shaped tower. Trucks deliver geotechnical rigs that drill test boreholes through coral limestone bedrock. Engineers must understand the porous Florida substrate before a single column is poured. Above them, the skyline of downtown Miami already crowds the horizon. The challenge here is not just height. It is building a sculpted, twisting structure on saturated soil beside a tidal river. Excavation begins. Sheet piles are driven along the bay-facing edge, sealing groundwater from the open pit. Powerful pumps run continuously to keep the dig dry as crews remove roughly 50,000 cubic meters of soil and weathered limestone. The tower will rise from a footprint barely larger than a city block, so every centimeter of depth matters. Drilled shaft piles plunge 30 meters into the bedrock, more than 200 of them, each anchored into competent rock to carry the tower's combined weight of roughly 150,000 tons. Surveyors verify alignment with millimeter precision. Saltwater intrusion is the constant enemy. A poorly sealed foundation in Miami can corrode steel from within decades before it should. Inspectors take core samples and log every pore, and the deepest layers of the building's spine are quietly committed to coral rock. The matte foundation arrives, 3 meters thick, reinforced with a dense lattice of steel bars woven so tightly that workers walk on them like a metal floor. The continuous concrete pour lasts more than 24 hours. Mixer trucks arrive every few minutes, queuing along Biscayne Boulevard, while pumps push concrete through long boom arms into the pit. Inside the slab, embedded sensors monitor curing temperatures because too much heat in such a thick pour can crack the concrete from within. Above the mat, the first vertical elements take shape, the reinforced core walls that will become the tower's elevator shafts and stair towers. This core is the building's structural spine. Every floor above will hang from it. The curved geometry of the residences depends on a perfectly vertical, perfectly plumb core, even as the outer shell will sweep outward like a sail. Self-climbing formwork engages. Hydraulic jacks lift the curved steel molds one floor at a time, then concrete is poured into the gap and cured for hours before the cycle repeats. On a strong week, the core grows one full level every 3 days. Tower cranes anchored to the rising structure swing slabs of rebar and prefabricated formwork into place. Below, a podium of 7 stories spreads outward, housing parking, mechanical rooms, and the future amenities deck. The shape of the tower begins to read. Unlike a simple box, the residences twist subtly along the height, each floor plate rotating to follow the curve of a yacht hull. This is Aston Martin's signature contribution. The building references the brand's automotive design language, with architects translating the sweep of a sports car flank into a vertical, 66-story silhouette rising beside the bay. Past the 100-meter mark, the work becomes a vertical assembly line. Post-tensioned concrete slabs are poured at each level, with cables threaded inside the slab and stressed to compress the concrete, allowing thinner floors and longer clear spans. For luxury residences, that means uninterrupted living rooms with floor-to-ceiling glass and no awkward columns. A material hoist runs constantly along the exterior, ferrying workers, tools, and supplies from street level to the active floor. Concrete strength here climbs to 80 megapascals, almost 3 times the strength of standard residential mix, because the lower columns must carry the cumulative load of every floor above. Engineers monitor wind sway with accelerometers embedded in the core, calibrating predictions against measured movement. Miami's hurricane season is the silent presence behind every decision, and the structural design accounts for sustained winds well beyond Category 5 thresholds. Halfway up, the curtain wall begins its ascent. Glass panels, each unit pre-assembled with insulation, mullions, and gaskets, arrive on flatbed trucks and are hoisted by tower crane to the active floor. Workers fasten the units to embedded brackets along the slab edge, sealing each joint against the salt-laden wind. Once installed, the glass shields the interior from rain, allowing finished trades to begin on lower floors while structural work continues above. This phased overlap compresses the schedule by months. The curve of the building demands that nearly every glass panel be subtly different in shape, each cut and tempered to its precise position. Computational modeling drives the fabrication, and laser scanners verify the as-built geometry against the digital twin. A few millimeters of drift would cascade into visible misalignment. None is permitted on a residence selling at this price. The tower clears 200 meters. From the upper floors, workers see the Atlantic stretching east, the Everglades hazing west, and the cruise ships of Port Miami crawling beneath them. Mechanical floors are built in at strategic levels, housing the chillers, pumps, and electrical switchgear required to serve nearly 400 residences. Sky lobbies break the elevator runs, shortening cable lengths and reducing wait times for the upper units. Inside the core, custom fabricated elevators are installed, including private cabs that open directly into the largest residences. The penthouse footprint takes shape across the top 3 floors, more than 1,800 square meters of living space, with a private pool deck that will eventually cantilever above the bay. The complexity is no longer engineering. It is logistics, choreographing dozens of trades stacked vertically across a 60-story column of active work. Topping out, the structural crew pours the final slab at level 66, 249 meters above the seawall. A small ceremony marks the moment, but the work is far from finished. The crown of the building is sculpted into the silhouette that gives the tower its sail-shaped identity, a curved fin of structural steel and glass rising above the residential floors. This element is non-structural but visually critical, signaling the building from kilometers away across the bay. Workers install temporary platforms to fabricate the crown in segments, welded and bolted at altitude. Inside, the penthouse begins to receive its mechanical bones, dedicated air handlers, a separate water filtration system, blackout shading, and reinforced anchor points for art installations weighing thousands of kilograms. Every interior surface is calibrated to the buyer's specifications, who at this stage already holds the deed in cryptocurrency. The curtain wall reaches the crown, sealing the tower against the elements. Below the waterline, a private marina is dredged and finished, with slips sized for yachts up to 24 meters, including a dedicated berth tied to the penthouse purchase. Interior fit-out moves into its final stages. Italian stone slabs, custom millwork, and bespoke metal finishes are barged in and lifted floor by floor. The penthouse alone consumes thousands of hours of skilled labor, hand-laid marble, climate-controlled wine storage, and a private gym whose equipment is installed before the surrounding walls are closed. Outside, landscape architects plant native palms along the entry plaza, and the building's lighting design is calibrated at night, with engineers adjusting the brightness of every cove and accent. The tower begins to look less like a construction site and more like a finished sculpture along the Miami waterfront. Completion arrives in 2022. Aston Martin Residences Miami opens, the Marque's first residential project anywhere in the world, the result of more than 5 years of construction. The penthouse, listed as Unit 6601 across the top 3 floors, is sold for the equivalent of 59 million United States dollars, paid entirely in Bitcoin, one of the largest cryptocurrency real estate transactions ever recorded. From its private terrace, the view sweeps from the Atlantic horizon to the lights of Miami Beach. The tower's sail-shaped crown becomes a navigational landmark along the bay. 391 residences fill the floors below, served by the marina, the spa, the art gallery, and the brand-tuned interiors. What began as a saturated waterfront parcel is now a sculpted vertical sliver of the Miami skyline, where engineering, luxury, and a famous name finally converge.